ultimate aim is the happiness, and do not lose it while struggling for it.
Picture this. You're at a dinner party. The topic of religion comes up, and someone asks you to explain Hinduism. If you're like most people, you probably freeze up. You might mention the Bhagavad Gita, the Puranas, or a few deities, but struggle to define the core of it all. The confusion usually starts because we try to understand this ancient philosophy using a completely different framework. We are conditioned to look for a strict, top-down system that demands blind faith in a single absolute truth. Sanatan Dharma functions as a massive, open-source methodology for self-discovery. The epics and rituals are essentially the branches of a much larger tree. To understand the growth of the leaves, we have to look at the underlying blueprint. The foundational logic of this universe starts with two variables. First, there is Brahman, the infinite, unchanging consciousness that weaves to every atom of existence. Second, there is Atman, the localized individual self, you. A moment of wonder. The system proposes a precise equation. These two seemingly distinct entities are actually made of the exact same identical fabric. To fully realize who you are is to realize the entire universe. But that raises an obvious logistical question. If this profound connection exists, how is an ordinary human brain supposed to actually process it? Bridging the vast gap between the individual and the cosmos involves navigating a specific, intentional structure of investigation. This brings us to the Chaturdasha Vidya. In this framework, all ancient Indian knowledge is organized onto a massive foundation supported by 14 distinct pillars. This manuscript displays a page from the Vedas. Notice the precise grid of red horizontal lines and structured text. These four texts, the Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva Veda, act as the absolute source code of the entire system. Reading this code demands mastery of the 6 Vedangas, starting with hard sciences like grammar and astronomy. Finally, the grade is completed by the Upangas, 4 pillars introducing strict critical thinking mechanisms, logic, historical analysis, textual interpretation, and legal frameworks. When you look at the full matrix, the reality becomes clear. This is a rigorously logical and highly practical system built for analyzing reality. So how does a human being apply this cosmic blueprint to a normal lifespan? The system balances 4 life goals: duty, wealth, desire, and ultimate liberation, mapped directly across 4 specific stages of life. The architects of this framework knew that every human brain processes the world differently. Some lean heavily on logic, others on deep emotion, and some on constant physical action. To account for this, they designed a customized user interface, the 4 yogas. If your mind demands logic and analysis, you take the path of Jnana Yoga. If you are driven by emotion and devotion, you use Bhakti Yoga. For the relentlessly active, there is Karma Yoga, the path of action. And for those seeking mental control, Raja Yoga offers meditation. The final destination is identical for everyone. The framework perfectly adapts the route to match your specific psychological profile. Because this system never pitted spirituality against the material world, it directly birthed highly advanced applied sciences, known as the Upavedas. These ancient metallic instruments are the exact type detailed in the Sushruta Samhita. This medical text records detailed instructions for complex surgical procedures, including early foundational techniques of plastic surgery, alongside an extensive catalog of herbal remedies. This manuscript illustrates the exact kind of astronomical data points used by ancient scholars. Using strict mathematical proofs, Aryabhata calculated that the Earth rotates on its own axis, while Brahmagupta formally established the operating rules for 0 and negative numbers. Centuries before modern laboratories, the philosopher Kanada arrived at the concept of the atom, the paramanu. He did this entirely through logical deduction, reasoning that if you divide a physical object enough times, you must eventually hit an indivisible core. Sanatan Dharma actively demands the mastery and scientific investigation of the physical universe, treating it as a completely valid path to discovering truth. Which leads us to perhaps the most startling feature of this entire architecture. its capacity to include and protect the Gnostika, or heterodox, schools of thought. You can be a strict materialist, a pure logician, or an outright atheist, and yet you remain an active, respected participant within this framework. Sanatan Dharma never forces a single truth upon anyone. It simply provides humanity with an infinitely detailed map and the tools to read it, leaving the ultimate journey entirely up to you.